We are learning new details tonight about the terrorist attack on Boulder's Pearl Street. Of the 12 injured, 3 at this hour remain in the hospital. Investigators also revealed the suspect tried to buy a gun and even took a training course, but his purchase was denied because he's not a U.S. citizen. It's been a tough couple of days, but I'm glad you're with us tonight. I'm Shannon Ogden. Mohammed Sabri Solomon now facing federal hate crime charges along with many state charges, including 16 counts of attempted murder. He's accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at a group of people who were calling for the release of hostages in Gaza. Investigators say Solomon posed as a gardener to get close to the group, bringing a makeshift flamethrower with him and at least 18 Molotov cocktails. He only threw 2 of them, burning several people, including himself. He told investigators he planned on dying in the attack and would have thrown more, but he got scared because he said he had never hurt anyone before. The suspect also said he had been planning this attack for a year, waiting for his daughter to graduate high school first, which she did last week, before carrying out the plan.
When he was interviewed about the attack, he said he wanted them all to die. He had no regrets, and he would go back and do it again.
Solomon is an Egyptian national. He arrived in the U.S. in 2022. He lives down the Springs with his wife and his children. The Department of Homeland Security says he is in the country illegally, but also that he was not on their radar. And Denver 7's made efforts to talk to the victims, but they have asked for privacy at this time. Now, we are hearing from people who know some of them. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joins us live on Pearl Street in Boulder. And Colette, you spoke with a filmmaker who knows one of the victims, the Holocaust survivor.
Shannon, he says what's most important right now is the safety and security of all of those victims. And right now along the mall, it's a very different scene than it was last night. I was here last night. This was all roped off. You couldn't walk by this area, but all day today, a very different scene. People coming and going, leaving flowers and flags as a sign of support for those who were hurt.
Pearl Street Mall is no stranger to visitors.
We're from Greeley, Colorado.
Yeah.
But Monday, a crowd came for more than the shops and sights.
Like everybody else, we heard about the terrible tragedy that happened here.
Troy and Vicky Gottlieb
Amor la Adonai bachse.
came to pray.
It's Jewish tradition, if you're close, to go and pray over an area that has experienced pain and violence.
They were drawn here because of what happened on Sunday when 12 people were injured during what's being investigated as a terror attack, where suspect Mohammed Solomon allegedly threw Molotov cocktails into a crowd of people during their weekly walk to raise awareness and call for the release of hostages in Gaza.
It almost robs you of a sense of security.
One of the victims is a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah, it's revulsion and disgust.
A survivor who Tim Roper knows.
And the common denominator I see amongst these people who have seen the worst that humanity can dish out is there's some of the most loving, big-hearted, joyful people you've ever met.
Roper, who is not naming the survivor for security reasons, says they've attended a screening of a documentary he's worked on that studies how dehumanizing others impacts our ability to feel empathy.
To all of a sudden come home and have that smack you in the face in your hometown, something in that same malicious, disgusting pattern, it really, it's unnerving. But the universal becomes personal. And that's when it kind of hits you in the heart and in the gut.
He sees it as part of a phenomenon that leads to cases like the one now in the hands of prosecutors.
So at this point, the U.S. Attorney's Office has brought federal charges for hate crimes, and our office is prosecuting the attempted murder and other crimes of violence that were alleged to have been committed here in Boulder.
Is that typical for federal prosecutors to take on hate crimes over state prosecutors?
It's not unusual in cases involving mass violence for federal and state prosecutors to work together either behind the scenes or jointly in the prosecution, and I think this is another example of that.
District Attorney Michael Dougherty says they have the right people in place to ensure the right outcome.
Utsuvade.
Something the community is praying for.
A profound desire for justice, not revenge.
As the start to the next chapter of this case begins.
Jewish Colorado has started an emergency fund. Their goal is to raise $160,000. They say all of that money would go right back here into the Boulder community for things like more security or victim and trauma support. There's a QR code on your screen right now. If you'd like to help, you can scan that code and donate to that fundraiser. That's one way you can support the community here. We're live in Boulder. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
And thank you, Colette, tonight. And hearing that one of the victims is a Holocaust survivor is almost too much to understand. So to get some perspective, we spoke with another survivor of the Holocaust.
For any Holocaust survivor, must have gone through incredible torture and deplorable conditions of living, no matter how long it was. And for that person to relive this kind of hatred 80 years after the first time he or she experienced it, it's really mind-boggling, tragic, and outrageous. And I can say many more adjectives, but it's very, very sad that this person couldn't live in peace and harmony 80 years after she or he went through the horrors of the Holocaust.